Nothing to add, so go ahead, Vicky. You're the expert
Okay.
here.
Oh, well, I'm not an expert. I'm learning because the first time I did a T3010, I had never done it. So I keep learning new things every year. So hopefully I can teach you guys something today. Um, uh, Peter from League Rep from 204 in Kamloops will hopefully keep me in line, right, Peter?
Yes, I'll do that.
Okay, welcome everybody. I hope you guys didn't get too much snow. Um, we're hoping that the snow stays away at least here on the lower mainland, then I can at least drive into work. It would be nice if I didn't have to drive into work, but that's okay.
No snow here in Richmond. Nice wet rain.
Okay, I'm just messaging buddy because we're making sure everything's recording properly, so we're good to go. Okay, so we're going to talk about the T3010, and just give me a moment here and I'll share my screen. Okay, can everybody see that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So the T3010 is the reporting report that is used by CRA to Charities Directorate for all registered charity societies to report their finances for the previous year. So to begin with, the numbers that we can get for the T3010 are produced within the ACC9 workbook. One of the worksheets is called T3010, so all of the information that you need to fill in the T3010 is contained within that worksheet. It also handles all the calculations, so you don't have to do that for you, and it kind of takes the brain work out of it, because I know when I look at all the numbers, sometimes I get kind of confused as to what goes where, but the worksheet helps you with all of that.
Can you watch in the bedroom?
Just one thing, if everybody can mute their microphones so we don't have any interference, that would be awesome. Thank you very much. The report, the T3010 is required to be filed every year within 6 months of your fiscal year end. So that is, your year end is August 31st, so it should always be filed by the end of February. It can be done online or it can be done by paper. I don't do it online. I like paper better only because to do it online, I have to give some of my own personal information, and it's a work thing, and it's just as easy to fill it out by paper and mail it in. One thing every year is CRA does put out a new version of the T3010. You'll know what version it is by the number at the bottom of the form. So the form this year should have 20 in it, and that'll be for 2020. You always need to send in a full set of financials with it. So it's the same financials that are used within your ACC9 that you do for your year-end reporting to us and to national office. And you just use pages 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the ACC9. All of the T3010s have to have a completed T1235, which lists all of the directors. We'll go through some of these forms after this. And if any of the SSCs donate money to other qualified charities, the form T1236 needs to be completed. So we'll go over to the T3010 here. Can everyone see that? I can't see your faces, so if somebody can let me know, that would be great.
Yes, we can see it.
Yes,
Thank
we
you,
see
Michael.
To
it.
expand it.
Yeah, I can see it.
So as I was saying before, this is the T3010. At the bottom, it will show 20. So that is the version year that you're going to be looking for. So just make sure that you have that year. This is page 1. It contains all of your information. So you fill in your charity name, the fiscal year end, your business number, and your web address. If your SSE or squadron has a website, that's where you put it in. A1 is one of the areas where a lot of the SSCs fill in incorrectly. The answer is yes. You do report you are a subordinate position to BCPC. So that information needs to be filled in here along with our business number.
Vicki, why
Yes?
why do you need to put BCPC's business number when the 204 is an incorporated society and a registered charity with their own business number?
Because your bylaws and constitutions are connected to ours, and ours are connected to nationals. So we're all connected together, so that's why that needs to go in there.
Okay.
Another area that's important is the programs and general information. Noticing, seeing some of the copies of T3010s that come into the office, a lot of people will fill in this part noting fundraising that they do. They don't want to know what kind of fundraising you do. They want to know what kind of programs you run from the fundraising that you do. So make sure you put that in there. If you start any new programs throughout the year, always add that in there as well. So the T1236 that I was talking about for qualified donees, this is if you make any funds available or gifts to other qualified charities, you would tick yes here and then you would have to fill out that form. So you just need to download it from the website and fill in the information, and I'll show you that form shortly. And then you just kind of fill in the information. How do you do your fundraising? If you do tag days, although I know we didn't do any this year, but you would put it under other and then just put tag days in there. If you do any fundraising dinners or anything online, you just put that information in here. You don't have to put this specific money that you raised, just that that's what kind of activity you did to raise the money. You just go through and answer all of the questions. Remember, when you answer yes to a question, it says, please fill out schedule such and such. Make sure you go and fill out that schedule to ensure that they have the correct information.
Ilona, can I just ask about tag days? Wouldn't it be...
This is Vicki, not Ilona.
Sorry. Hi, Vicki.
That's okay.
Wouldn't it be under collection boxes?
No, because that's a collection box within your LHQ.
Okay.
Yeah. We used to have, when I was chair at 147, I think they still have the collection box there, I'm not sure. But we used to have a collection box near the front of the door, so that's where that would go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So here was one of the schedules, Schedule D, or Section D. Section D is where you're going to list all your financial information, and that can be obtained, again, like I said, through the T3010 worksheet. So this section here, you will only fill out if your revenue is less than $100,000. So I'm going to bring up the sample worksheet. Okay, so this is the first page of the worksheet, the T3010 worksheet that's contained within the ACC9. So if this number here at the bottom is less than $100,000, then you will fill in Section D. And again, all the numbers are here that you can correspond to the ACC9 to fill in that information. The first page is your revenue and the second page is your expenditures. This sheet shows the revenues are more than $100,000. You will not fill in Section D. You will fill in Schedule 6. Don't do both because sometimes the information is conflicting. You only do one or the other. Section D is for less than 100,000. Schedule 6 is for more than 100,000. So if your revenues, always look at your number here and then you'll know which one you're going to use. Does anybody have any questions on that?
Um, uh, Vicky, I would like to know, this number is as of 31st of August or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's always your reporting reporting time as of your year end. So everybody's year end is August 31st. So you would use whatever information was contained within your August 31st. Once it's balanced and approved by BCPC office, then that's the information you'll use. Okay, so this is Section D. The next section is Section E, and this is where the person that's completing it will put their information in F2. The person that's going to sign it. Now, if it's the same person, then you would still fill in the information in both sections. Remember, in Section E, the person that signs it has to be a director of your SSC. When you fill in the address here, here's another error that I see quite a bit. Post office box numbers and rural routes are not allowed. They have to be the physical address. So I did have one that sent me a copy of their T3010 last week, and I noticed that because they're not parading out of their LHQ right now, they're out of school, they're not parading, that's usually where their books are kept. They're in a self-storage, so they put in the self-storage address. Just make sure that no post office box number can be used. Okay, and then at the bottom here we have the checklist. So this checklist is important. It will tell you need your form T3010, you need a copy of your financials, you need the T1235, which I'll show you next. You will not need this form here because it's for Ontario only. The T1236 is if your SSC donates money to another qualified charity. You will never use the T2081. Okay, so the next section of the T3010 are all the schedules. Remember, you only fill in those schedules if you answered yes and they told you to fill in those schedules. If you answered no, you don't need to check no all the way down. Just leave it blank. It's all good to go. Again, Schedule 3, that's if you have paid employees. If you don't, you don't. You only complete these schedules. There's Schedule 4, Schedule 5, if you answered yes. Here is Schedule 6, where I said that if your charity's revenue exceeds $100,000, this is the information that you're going to fill in. Again, it's all the corresponding numbers with respect to the T3010 worksheet contained within the ACC9. You just complete all of that. And there's your expenditures down there, and that's the last page of the T3010. So here's the form T1235. This lists all of your directors. Their last name has to go in. Last name, first name, and initial. Always put in their initial. If they don't have an initial legally, then you don't have to put that in there. But you always put in their legal name. So for example, I go by Vicky, but my legal first name is Veronica. So Veronica would go in there, not Vicky. Put in their start date, so that's when they're elected to the executive or SSC, and every year everybody steps down, so you would put your end date as to a year from that date that they started. You may not know when your AGM is going to be next year, but that's going to be about the approximate time. Put in their position, so it's usually just director. You don't have to put in chairperson, treasurer, vice chair, nothing like that. You just have to put in director. At arm's length with other directors. So this area here, you would usually check no unless there are two directors on the SSC that are related and living in the same household. Then you would check yes. If you're not, if they're all not related and they're all living in different areas, then you would check no. So that means they're at arm's length. Residential address, you can put PO numbers in or PO box numbers in here. That's okay. You just have to make sure you put in the full address, full phone number, and their birth date. A couple T3010s I got in the past couple of weeks, a lot of them did not have the birth date filled in. This needs to be filled in because there may be two people with the exact same name. So make sure that the birth date is filled in. Does anybody have any questions on this form?
Veronica, you said for fiscal year end, that would be August for everybody?
Yes, it is August 31st.
Thank you.
Vicki,
You're
one of
welcome.
the things that I've always done filling these out, I do put this time, the date that they started as a director, but I don't put an ending date in until they've actually left as a director. If they
Really?
if they're elected every year, I don't put anything in until they've actually retired as a director for the end date. Okay?
So if they retired as a director, then they wouldn't be listed on this form.
That's correct.
Then you wouldn't be filling that in at all, right?
Well, like if they retired during the year, you still have to show that, yes, they were there for part of the year. Anyone that was there for part of the fiscal year has to be in there.
Okay.
So Vicki, we're saying this as of August 31st, so it's last year's directors, right?
No, it would be your directors that came in at, if you haven't had your AGM, then yes, it would be last year's directors. But if you've had your AGM, then you put in the new directors.
You put the current ones in even though they weren't there on August 31st? That makes no
Yes,
sense.
that's
to me.
correct. Yeah, it'll be your current directors. Whether they've
Vicky?
stepped off, pardon me? Sorry?
Vicky, it's Caroline. I think
Hi.
the other question is about when you filed the T3010 for whatever fiscal year, you have to use the board of director for that fiscal year.
Yes.
Yes, you do. Like if you have past T3010s that you haven't filed, then yes, that is correct. Then you would use the board of directors. But most of them are all filed year after year. So you would use your current board of directors if it's a current one.
Yeah.
Okay, so on August 31st, we had 7 directors. At our AGM, we went down to 5. So which ones am I putting in? The ones
The
for
7.
5.
the 7,
The
right?
7?
Yeah, you put
I
in
would
the
put all 7
because
and date for 2.
you're reporting for the fiscal year.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
They were directors for the fiscal year.
So
They
when
were.
the end date can be filled out as the AGM that we just had then, because we know the end date of their terms.
Well,
Correct?
yeah, but this is as of August 31.
Right.
So if you have your AGM in September,
Mm-hmm.
all the directors are still there, okay? They haven't left. In next year, you would show these directors still being on, and retiring on the AGM date.
Yeah. So, but if I had done this form on August 31st, I wouldn't know, you know.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Thanks.
Yeah. This is the T1236. It doesn't apply to everyone because, like I said, it's only if you, I think I had 2 SSCs last year that donated money to other charities because they had excess money and they made that decision as the directors. If they are a qualified charitable society, then you would need to fill out one of these to show who you donated to and what their information is and how much you donated as well. I think I've only seen this once or twice in the 4 years that I've been with BCPC. Okay, so to go back to the presentation here, important information, I went over A1, yes, you fill in BCPC with their registered charity number here. C2, where you describe your charitable activities and not your fundraising activities. Section D, to complete only if the revenue is less than 100,000. Otherwise, complete Schedule 6 if it's over. Always list your full physical street address and not PO box numbers, and the signee must be a director. So there is, if you go on to the T3010 website, the CRA website, there's a whole bunch of information there. And I'm sure we can get clarification on the T1235, which I will be looking at tomorrow just to make sure the information is correct. So I do get a couple of questions that come through. You will get a reminder letter from Charities Directorate reminding you that your T3010 is due within the 6 months. It is usually sent about 2 to 3 months after the fiscal year end. It is just a reminder and there's no need to panic. The only time you need to panic is if you get another letter saying, we never got you T3010, it's after the due date of February 28th or 29th, and we're sending you a notice saying you need to do this. Depending on if you didn't file the year before, or this is the first year filed, will be whatever's contained within that letter. This is about the time when I usually get a phone call going, what do I do? I might just complete the T3010 and send it in. That's all you have to do. So they're not going to revoke everything all at once. They're going to give you some time in order to get everything in order.
Okay. Vicki, can I make just one comment here before we get too far down?
Sure.
It says right on the T235 or whatever the hell it is.
1235?
1235. You must give us complete information for each director, trustee, and like official who, at any time during the fiscal period of this return, was a member of the charity's board of directors or trustees.
There
Okay?
you go. Right there.
That's the answer.
Yeah. Thank you, Peter. I knew you put me in my place.
You're welcome.
And Peter, that means like there is no need to enter the new director's name into it, like the current ones?
No.
Okay, thank you.
It says during the fiscal year that you are reporting. So your fiscal year would be September 1. So for this reporting period, it would be September 1, 2019 to August 31, 2020. So if your directors remain the same throughout that time, if you had your AGM in October of 2019, you would need to list the directors that were still on there before the AGM if they stepped down at the AGM. So you need to still put their names in and the date where they ended their term as a director. Correct, Peter?
Correct. And like
Thank you.
if in some SSCs, if they have problems like we did at 204 a couple of years ago, those directors that resigned partway through the year, you still have to list them and record the date that they resigned, as well as the ones that were still there at the end of the fiscal year.
And came on during the year as well.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Peter. Thanks, Vicky.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Vicky,
Yes?
it's Caroline from 135. Can you clarify again from the T20, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry. What I'm talking about is from the form T1235.
Yes.
As arm length with other director, usually we will put in no or yes.
Yeah, at arm's length. You would usually put in no, unless you have two directors that live together. So it could be a husband and wife, and they live together and they're both directors, then it would be yes.
Okay, so here is the situation.
Oh, sorry, the opposite way. Opposite way. It's yes if they are at arm's length, and no if they're living together. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my question.
Yeah, sorry. I'm getting there. It's Sunday night.
So we have to answer yes to it, right?
Yeah, so the normal answer would be yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry for the confusion. Sorry for the confusion. The normal answer would be yes at arm's length. Now, if they are husband and wife and they're living together and they're both directors, then they would not be at arm's length. So it would be no.
Thank you.
So what situation did you have? Did you still need clarification on that?
No, it's because it's
Okay.
conflict with what we found last year, so that's why I just want to clarify.
Okay, yeah. Don't worry about, the T1235 if it's filled in incorrectly. The only time it's going to come back and bite you if there's huge issues with your T3010, then they might question it. There's I always recommend, and I've been recommending this for the past 2 years, if you want me to take a look at your T3010 before you file it, send it in to me. I'm more than happy to look at it. As you can see, I'm still learning little ins and outs, and thanks to Peter, he lets me know. So I will always take a look at it. I did have one squadron last year that had excess of $100,000 in revenues, and they needed help completing because they had never completed the Schedule 6. So I helped them with that, and we got it balanced and ready to go for them. So I am always more than happy and willing to take a look at it for you.
Yeah, thank you.
I won't do it for you, but I will check it for you.
It's not I'll try to help out our new treasurer. So this will be a big help for her when she's still so green.
Yeah.
At least
And
someone will check her
I'm
work.
always available for more training online as well.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Vicki, this is Anka from 111. Can I just ask,
Hi.
do you suggest that we send this in registered mail, or does it matter?
I send it registered mail just so I know that they've got it. So yeah, I would do that. Then you can use a tracking number, make sure that they receive it, right? Okay, is there any other questions?
This will be online later to review?
Yes, it will.
Excellent. Okay.
One thing too, Vicki, that you could mention, these forms are available online in fillable PDF formats.
Yes.
So you can
Yes.
fill them in online and then save them on your computer and adjust them as you need. That's the easiest way to get them.
Yeah. When you're downloading a fillable, always save it first before you start filling it in, because you might lose some of that information. So save it first onto your desktop or wherever you want to save it, complete it, and then resave it again.
Thank you. I would have loved to have known that earlier today.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, they
No, it's
do
my
have
own fault.
fillable and regular. Yeah.
Hey, Vicky,
Any other
I would like to
questions? Yeah.
know, if this presentation will be available on the BCPC cadet.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Wait for at least a week for it to get on there, but it will be on there, and it will also be emailed out to all of the participants. Right, Michael? I'm just making sure you're awake.
Where's Michael? Where's Michael?
Well, actually the PowerPoint that Vicky presenting tonight will be sent out to all the attendee today, and then the whole shall I say the video will be on the BCPC website for viewing later. So when I want to have time, or Vicky had time to put it up to the website, then it's available. So you will have both the PowerPoint presentation and also the video. But
Jennifer,
so you get the video
you had a
from.
question?
Yeah, yes, I do, Vicki. Thank you. For the Schedule 6, is it total assets or your revenue for that?
Total revenue. So your total revenue will include your assets.
Oh.
So the number I showed you at the bottom of the one page there, that includes your assets, your capital assets, everything. So it'll include everything.
Okay, so total assets then. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Look at that, Michael. We finished like in 35 minutes.
Vicky, you're not doing your job. This is supposed to be a 1 hour session.
I tried.
We want to go home early to avoid snowing.
Hold on, somebody else has a question, I think.
This is Lydia from
Hi,
the
Lydia.
Lab. I just want to quickly mention about it's very important to file T3010 because I have experience of a squadron that they did not file T3010 for 3 years, and they received notice that their charitable organization status were to be revoked.
Yep.
And it took us 18 months and a couple of $1,000 to get all the documents that CRA required and to have the status reinstated. But it was a very painful 18 months, and I don't want anyone to go through it, so it's very, very important to file your T3010.
Yeah, and I do probably about beginning of summer, I will go online to the charity's website and I will check to see if your T3010 has been filed. If I don't see the 2000, this year I would look for the 2019 year. If I don't see that on there, because it'll show all the previous years that have been filed, I will send an email to the chairperson and the treasurer and the league rep saying, okay, I noticed your T3010 hasn't been filed, or if it has, could you let me know, or do you need some help with it, or whatever. Just tell me you're on it, please. Because we don't want your charity status to be revoked, because I know that it's a lot of hard work. Joe over at 899 just went through it, and congratulations to 899 because they just received their charitable status. So that's very exciting for them. And it's a lot of paperwork. I think it took Joe almost, over a year to do it?
That's how I lost all my hair.
Yeah. Yeah, so it is very important, and it's even that much harder if you do lose your status, that much harder to get it back. So you really got to prove yourself with all the paperwork that you need, and it's a lot of work, which is one of the reasons why your ACC9 is very important to keep up to date and send it into the BCPC office, because I remember that instance that was it Lydia that had brought it up, that had happened, and I was able to provide them with copies of their ACC9s for the past 2 or 3 years so that the new treasurer that came on was able to complete all of those. So that's one of the reasons why it's really important to have a backup system, because as you know, SSCs change over quite often, and that kind of information can be lost in the changeover. So it's very important to keep everything up to date.
Vicki, one thing in answer to that question they had about reporting the assets on Schedule 6.
Mm-hmm.
Schedule 6 requires them to report their statement of financial position, and you're supposed to show all amounts to the nearest single Canadian dollar. Do not enter see attached financial statements. All relevant fields must be filled out. So
yeah.
It goes through the assets like cash and investments, amounts receivable, investments,
capital assets,
all kinds of stuff. Okay, it has to be listed separately. Okay.
Yeah, it has to be listed, and it will come back to you to say, please complete this properly. So again, that'll put a red flag on your file if you don't complete it properly. So far, knock on wood, I haven't had any of mine come back yet, so we're good to go.
I've never had one come back either, and I've done this for 15 years or 20 years.
There you go. Yes?
Vicki, I just wanted to make a point for 278 that hasn't received their charitable status as yet, that you do not need to file the 3010 until you receive your charitable number.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's right.
so we have to look into
So
that.
thank you for being here and learning 278, and you'll be well prepared when you do get your charitable status.
Right.
Okay, I think that's it, Michael. Nobody else has any questions?
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Vicki to be a presenter tonight. And for people that never filled out a T3010 before, it does look like a daunting task. And Vicki able to present it in almost in 20 minutes. It showed her expertise in the area. And also thank Peter for chipping in his all that experience that he had for the last 15 years. So great for him to come in and give us the helping hand here. So
Thank you,
if
Peter.
you have, yeah.
You're
So
welcome.
if you have any further questions regarding, T3010, don't hesitate to contact Vicki in the office. She's always very helpful in every way that she can. So if you have a question, do give her a call, and she'd be glad to help you out.
Well done, Vicki.
Thank you, Peter.
Yep.
Everybody enjoy their evening, and I hope you don't get any big dumps of snow.
Thank you, Vicki. Have a
Thank you,
night.
Vicki.
Take care, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. We'll be talking to you, Vicki.
Okay, thank you, Joe.